All right, guys. Hail and Merry Me to everybody. It's MicheleMarieDalene. Of course, today is Tuesday, and we took the ears off to give my ears a break. But that's confusing. All right, let me explain it this way. I took my elf ears off to give my real ears a break because these head crushers push a lot of pressure points on the elf ears, which squish my real ears because these are over the ear headphones and not on the ear. And so there's a lot of pressure behind them, and it's like, ah! So I don't know if Kiri's at work or not. I don't know where she is right now, Noodles. I mean, but so I took the ears off to rest my ears and also to clean them and get off all the excess glue and stuff like that. So I guess we'll put them on real quick in a hurry. We went out to glue for show. It's not a big deal. But I figured, well, before we do anything like that, let's look at these ears close up. This is the ear here. Okay. And you can see there's a little ear canal, and the skin isn't exactly the same as mine, any more than the other elf ears where it's pretty pink skin, but it's not like really perfect match. Okay, I mean, and depending on which lighting you're in, you may not notice the difference, but there is a difference. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today. Let's talk about something. It's Jimmy addressed that a Senator Ryden, not Biden, Ryden, wants to do for people on Social Security disability and Social Security SSI. He says it's been too dang long that people in SSI, SSDI got enough living money to live on. He wants to pass legislation to give everybody an additional $200 a month. I can see his point. I don't have a problem with that, but I do get questions. Number one, where are you gonna get the money from? Number two, is the Social Security fund gonna be allowed under new law to borrow from the general fund? If it answers no, then it means that all you're doing is hastening the demise to a program that people need. If you're talking about allowing Social Security to borrow from the general fund, then that makes more sense because they need to restore Social Security funding. It really needs more money. Next thing is, how long are we going to do this for? It doesn't, as I said, it's not a COVID-19 specific legislation. It's for everyday issues. So yeah, it makes sense. They need to have a way to refill it. Okay. Now, Andrew Yang's universal basic income and under the Kamala Harris's original Emergency Money for the People's Act isn't off the table either. However, how is that going to work? Because right now, you're throwing money at the problem. Okay, let's talk about another thing. Someone's saying, and I can see the point, is why do we have to give out emergency money for the people since they say that the virus and vaccine should theoretically be ready by maybe possibly by March? Well, for one thing, that's a couple months away at the very least. And second of all, is the Federal Reserve has said, if we don't do something now, it's going to be a lot harder in the later on to fix it. So pick your poison, because you know, it's just the way it is. So, but I digress. However, Biden wants to get back into the Paris Accord. Why? What is it about the Paris Accord that's going to make it better than you individually working on your own climate change project? You don't need to be in a group that dictates policy, and you certainly should be in the same group that China, which is a major polluter, as in China doesn't give a crap about Paris Accord, and Paris Accord for Chinese people is as alien as compassion is to a barbarian. Okay, they certainly are not going to stop polluting with their factories and their waters and ecological disasters. So why would you want to be involved in something that's going to dictate your policies in your country? Every country needs to decide on their own policies that works for their people. So, idea, for example, of all electric cars isn't going to work, for example, until we have the infrastructure to charge them. Once we have the infrastructure to charge the cars, regardless of fuel, electric, hydrogen, nuclear, why not? Maybe when they will come up with a nuclear car, right? Then you'll never have to charge again. But then it would probably weigh so much with the shielding, it probably wouldn't be even practical to drive it. So that's a good question right now is, does it make sense to be part of the Paris Accord? And the answer is no. World Health Organization, he wants to restore our position in the World Health Organization. No, I don't think we need to be involved in the WHO, because the WHO basically is the bootlicker of the Chinese in this case, and then come up with a solution that helps anybody, except make more excuses to sit there and basically give us misinformation, false facts. But I don't see, and also, of course, let's not forget another thing that Joe Biden wants to do, is he wants to increase your taxes a lot of money. He wants to go ahead and make more people pay more taxes. Right now, it's not going to make sense to do that. I don't think so. I think Alex Jones probably would be more so, but the point is that it's just an example of what I'm talking about, where some of these things that the Republicans want to do not make any sense, and there's things in it that do make sense. How you doing, Nightbot? Oh yes, I know Nightbot's our NPC. Anyway, the updated shopping list is up. If you want to see it, it's on Nightbot. I included the sword and I included the dagger in that list, so that if you want to take a look at the Nightbot list to see the sword and the dagger that I'm looking for. Sorry guys, I couldn't find the sword that was inexpensive and still was aesthetically pleasing. I looked. Real swords cost real money, and they're not cheap, and you're gonna get one for under $200. Good luck. They're not that cheap. 8 people viewing, and only right now I only see one guy basically spamming the chat. He's not even really talking about the stuff we're talking about. Wow. So, plain interesting. All right, so maybe the next question is, what are we covering in the World of Warcraft? Real quick. Can you open up? No, we're not doing the phones in the morning show. No way. No, absolutely not. No. Because that's for the night show. This is the time when I get up, I get a chance to clear my head, think things through, and not have to worry about basically having a conversation derailed in less than 3 minutes. I mean, that's all I want in my life, is just that one time when I can do a show live and not be derailed in 3 minutes. I don't think the check's too bad, considering that we got 10 viewers. Well, the answers are not that hard to do. Just, of course, admit if you're typing on a cell phone, it's a bitch. There's no doubt about that. You want to show them how you put the ears on? You might as well show them that. Without the glue. When you do it with the glue, it's the same. I'll just show them with this ear here. Alright, this is the ear. Pull the hair back. Then gently hold it open like this, like a tortilla. So, gently place finger in. Come on. I want you to use the adhesive force to tack this here on the ear like that. And you do the same thing with the other side. I did this side because you can see the side, but this side you can't really see that well. Now, even without the glue, it still stayed pretty well. But you can see that there's the skin tone doesn't quite match my skin. It's kind of okay. So if you took put a dab of adhesive right here where my finger is, you can actually keep it down. You can put some on the back of the ear here to hold it in place. And taking them off with or without the glue is pretty simple. And you just gently peel it off like that, and then that's all you do. So yes, that's how you put them on. That's how you take them off. So no one is replying. I know that. Don't forget, a lot of people are probably just still getting up too. Don't forget that. Or people are listening to the show when they're doing anything. You guys get your 7:00 show. You guys get your phone calls, and you can basically do your normal routine. That hasn't changed. The morning show is where we can cover things. Say good morning to everybody. Muttley, who's Muttley? Okay. Anyway, the point is the morning show is like where we can talk or type, or maybe I could have a panel of select people, but then again, that's where it only adds more pandemonium to the show than I want to deal with right now. I don't want to deal with getting into panels and stuff at 10 in the morning. You can, we're not, I mean, you can type. You can type. I read the comments anyway, you know that. So anyway, I do think that Senator Biden's idea about increasing Social Security disability makes sense because I always thought that SSDI didn't pay enough money to make it practical for people. If he goes up $200 a month, that means that for me, I get a net gain of $200 after expenses, which is going to be great. Well, that's a good question because are they going to finally allow the Social Security Administration to borrow money from the general fund? Because if they don't, there's not going to be enough money to pay and just be hastening the demise of Social Security. On the other hand, if Social Security, which right now is prohibited from borrowing from the general fund, can borrow from the general fund, that would solve a problem that has been existing since Social Security was created. That is, ability to get money from external sources. That we need to have that because we got more people on disability and elderly and retired than we do, people working and making the kind of money that's going to support the baby boomers and the Generation Xers. Those guys and gals need that help. But the problem is the fund is depleted and there has to be additional funding. So legislation would have to be passed to give the Social Security Administration the right to borrow from the general fund as every other administration office can. So why aren't they doing that? I don't know. If they overtax working citizens, that will create financial issues for them. Well, Social Security taxes is not going to help when you don't have people working. Again, that's part of the problem. You need to have people working to pay Social Security taxes and Medicare taxes. If you don't have people working, you're not going to be paying Social Security tax on an income of zero, will you? The problem is the Social Security Administration has been so misfunded for decades. His Congress has basically said, we'll kick this can down the road. The problem is you can't kick the can down against the wall. You need to go ahead and look at the reality is if you're going to go ahead and want to increase Social Security by that much per person, you better make sure you have a way to get the funding to give this economy a jump start. No, Trump's not the problem. And the problem was it goes back all the way back to the 1970s and sooner before that. They kept making excuses, even the last time under the Democratic administration. They didn't do anything either. They never even bothered to even pass legislation to rebuild or restore Social Security's availability to funds. They never did that. Clinton didn't do it. I mean, nobody did. Even Ronald Reagan didn't do a lot about it. I mean, Carter didn't do anything. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Bush didn't do much either. Either one. So the Social Security has been telling them we need more money, and they never came up with a bill that made sense to help them. Why don't you read it? But I get you a call or you ignore them and talk to chat. When they're rewarding drug addicts and alcoholics with Social Security disability, of course the funds are being depleted. I'm not going to deny that was happening under the Clinton administration. That was back to the 1990s, 1993. He started to crack down on that. But the thing is that, again, it's a systemic problem that's way older than one administration. So Senator Wyden's bill idea is great, but it's going to have a problem if they don't have a source of income to infuse the Social Security people. If you have the money to do it, great. But they didn't, and they don't, because it has to go through Congress to pass. So are they going to be able to do it? Well, I'll leave that one up for the student to figure out. And you tell me, with the crazy mess of election cycle right now, you think it's going to be so simple? You can't even tell which one. You can't even get an honest vote of the tallying of any of the candidates. It's crazy. Keep up with the chat, Michelle. I don't know why you don't read it, but when you get a call or you ignore them and talk to chat. I love when you whine at the high-pitched, nasally voice. The entire system is broken and needs to be re-evaluated. Right. Well, I agree. The system is broken, and the whole government's broken. The whole government's broken. It's not just one part that's broken. But unfortunately, I don't know how we're going to fix the problem. I don't even know how we're going to start to fix it. No, I just need to adjust that. And like I said, 13 viewers, Michelle. You're not doing too bad. No, I know. But we can talk about other more fun things. All right. Let's talk about the fun things this afternoon, because World of Warcraft is doing maintenance. We will be playing World of Warcraft tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Of course, we have the regular show at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, where, yes, we take phone calls and things like that, and the group is in the chat. So we do have that. And so, we will be doing the normal nighttime shows as well. How you doing, Jess, Miss Jamie? As you can read in the comments, some of the people are wondering why we don't take phone calls in the morning show, and I try to explain that we don't take the phone calls because a lot of us just would like to have a more peaceful, quiet show in the morning where we can talk and not feel overstressed about what's going on with the phones ringing and people talking, about things that don't make any sense. Jasmine, yep. How you doing, Jasmine Star? I mistakenly first seen you were just Miss Jamie. Sorry about that. You need to text to speech chat to keep it. Text to speech is not going to work because of the opposite. I need a tool to turn speech into text, something that can actually translate the phone calls into text so I can actually read them, especially when some phone calls, they're almost impossible for me to decipher. It's the ones that are impossible to decipher is really when I need to be able to look at the screen and go, what in the heck is that person saying on the phone? And hopefully can come up with an answer. Muttley, if they says if they reevaluated the welfare system, it would distress the national debt as well. All recipients should be required to work 40 hours community service monthly. They actually had a program like that in Connecticut called Workfare. Connecticut got rid of Workfare because unions got upset because they could basically get people to do a job for free on the state level. And there are some people, in Connecticut, I mean, like, there was some logistic errors besides the trade unions getting pissed off is that some people were not always easily available to get to the job sites. Well, that's not a major issue. No, Mike is not here. He still left his stuff here, though. Yeah, he left his stuff. Right. There's solutions out there. I think some of the reasons the politicians can't bother to fix them is because one, they don't even know. They don't like change. Or they don't like that the change is going to be cause their lives to be inconvenient. Oh, if that's what causes your life to be inconvenient, then that's not my problem. You guys, like I said, the problem with the Social Security goes back to the 1970s, and no one's ever really fixed it. Ever. They kept kicking the can down the road and refusing to pick up the damn thing and throw it in the garbage can. Always watching says, I don't know who that is, but please be respectful in here. Thank you. Michelle, good to see you. I like you doing these morning shows. Thank you. I had to take my ears off to give my ears a break. And as I explained earlier, I know that sounds confusing. But did show how I put them on without the adhesive so you can see them. But I took them off anyway. Life is inconvenience, isn't it, Lee? Yeah. Some of the comments, like people were telling me that they would like to have the phone calls in the morning show. First of all, one of the problems with the phone calls is they derail everything in the morning show. Everything. You can't even have a talk because you try. It derails the show in less than 3 minutes. And Rachel doesn't even have phone calls at all on her show. At least I never seen her do it. Where she starts taking a lot of phone calls on her show. And it's nice when you have a day, when you have a show where you can actually talk with the people in chat and actually try to hold an actual conversation as best you can. LOL, Muttley, I don't know how Michelle left them on that. Sounds funny to say I have to take my ears off. Yeah. Oh. I mean, I could be more specific, but the reason I took the ears off was because of Mr. Headphones. These guys will crush. Let's get a powerful spring up here. Now, if I'm wearing with the regular ears like this, that's fine. But you can see these are over-the-ear headphones, and you can, no, maybe you can't see it. Oh, wait. These got pressure points here where the earlobe is, and pressure point up here with the ear tip. It just barely goes underneath the thingy. So what's happening is trying to simulate it here. Here's the ear, here's the headphones. So basically they kind of go in like this. Okay? So that's fine. But the elf ears, they're like a plate, and you get the pressure going in, and it creates pressure points, and it hurts, and after a while you just want to take the ears off. The problem with Bluetooth or earbuds is that my system is not set up for Bluetooth. I mean, the Mac has Bluetooth capability, but the mixing board doesn't have Bluetooth capability. This mixing board over here mixes every single sound in. Every single piece of sound goes into this gargantuan box of levers and knobs. That's the board that maintains the sound. That's what I say. All those knobs are all the sound comes in and sound goes out. So when you're listening to the show, all the phones, the Skype calls, everything goes through that, and then it loops back into the Mac, and then goes to line, which is to the line in jack, and then the line in jack is then what is being recorded by OBS, or right now by the built-in YouTube program. And that's what it does. And so the problem is, I would need a Bluetooth earpiece to XLR plug adapter. But I really need, I don't know. I mean, I regular wired earbuds would work fine. But they don't provide 100% sound isolation, or you can basically block out all the outside noises. Even the on-ear headphones don't do that. There it is. How is Rusty? Rusty's doing fine. He's on my bedroom. He's on my bed right now, just snoozing. Nightbot has to be able to basically send a message out to people because a lot of people come and go on this channel. And so if they didn't actually put as many messages out as it does, it would be like people will never see the messages, because you gotta get people that block Nightbot already, and then they wonder why they can't find out how to join the Discord chat. Well, that's your answer. Oh, anyway, that's up to you. I'm not the only YouTube channel that uses Nightbot. Others do too. So when you block my Nightbot, you're blocking Nightbot on the other channels that maybe you like watching, and then you never find out about their special messages or whatever they're trying to say. So wouldn't it be Michelle without complication? I tried Bluetooth headphones and kept losing my phone. Yeah, that's the other thing. You gotta pair it with something. Now, if you look at this board here, let's see if we can get this over here. Do you see a lot of actually empty jacks on this board? Well, there's an XLR jack right there. studio jack. Oh, I do see an empty set. Yes. I see one up there in the top. There's one set of spare jacks. There are 2 jacks and 2 inputs. 3 inputs. That other one's microphone room. Oh, okay. So you could theoretically do it, but you need another Bluetooth adapter that plugs into either 3 or 1/4-inch jacks, or I've seen the ones with the XLR connectors. They're expensive as hell. Oh, but I mean, really, it's an idea. I don't know. Always okay. Always watching. I walk out of the house without my phone all the time. When you have the earbuds in, it's easy. Looks like 1970s rock band board. Yeah, well, my studio is almost entirely analog. So, yeah, it would look like that. Although it does have a USB output on it too. We usually use the analog side because it's less latency, and whereas with the USB, there's a couple microseconds delay, which really means that I would have to resync the lips to the sound, otherwise you are going to be wondering why I'm constantly out of sync with my speech. So, Bloated Kiki's channel is terminated. Why? What did he do this time? What did Bloated Kiki do to get his channel terminated? Did he play music that nobody accepted from YouTube? Or was it just that people just basically kind of got fed up with the content? Called Bloated Kiki's Vault. Okay. Muttley, I have a meeting. I gotta move. Don't snip any Kiki butts. But all right, I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah. So anyway, as far as the mixers go, it is kind of complicated. Got plugs hanging over everywhere. I kept planning to work on wire management. I got cable. Okay. By the way, this white cable hanging here is not. Oops. No. This cable here isn't even being used right now. I was just sitting on top. It's from my iPhone 4S. So no reason to have that in there. Because put that away. So. Oh. Cable rat's nest. All the plugs, cables, jacks, adapter, SD cards, and everything else you can imagine is in that drawer. And yeah. All right, there you go. Let me sure it's still recording. So it's a setup that's worked for me. You want to see that level of complexity? I got two sound cards hooked up right now to that board. One is from the mixer, or is to the built-in sound cord on the ports on the Mac, and the other one is from an external USB to. I think I have the extra one over here somewhere. Yeah, I'm gonna go get it. It's up here. I gotta sort the paperwork on this desk again. I know. This is an extra one. This is so the Discord sound comes out of this through the earphone at that hole here. And that goes into a channel in the mixing board. So I can actually monitor the Discord sound level and record that separately from the main max volume. So likewise, it also has a microphone input. So I can actually, now I can plug in 3 of these. Because it's USB, I can plug in a whole bunch of these little suckers. I can put as many up to 127 devices like this in my mixing board. I don't have 127 channels, but you could theoretically do it. I don't know why you would need 127 USB devices hanging off a hub. I suppose you could do it. I wouldn't dismiss the possibility. Some people would do it because people are going to go, hey, this is a great way to go. All the sound levels. Yeah. Until common sense kicks in and you realize you just basically shot yourself in the foot. Ouch. Yeah. Maintaining all those EQ levels at 127 devices is like guaranteed to bring the way to ruin your day. But what about the iPhone? How would I plug that into this? You know what? I don't know. I don't even think my iPhone has a USB, the 30-pin dock connector. They do. Yeah. For the iPad. 2 has it. I think the 3 doesn't need it. I don't know. The iPad 3, maybe. So the next thing is that we know that there's questions about the election, and I covered that yesterday. But please do make sure to understand that at this point, it looks like there was some federal affidavits that were filed showing that there was some election fraud going on in Nevada, allegedly, and there is questions in other states as well. So, I don't know. Just to talk about it just makes me yawn. It's just boring. Nobody wants to hear about that. Time to move on. So the 7 o'clock show tonight will be the normal stuff that Schmicklecat and everybody else likes. And as far as the ears, yeah. I'm actually missed my ears on. Because I've gotten used to having them on, and I took them off so I could get my ears a rest. Both ears. The latex elf ears and my real ears needed a break. So I guess it's just like learning to wear contact lenses. When I used to have contact lenses, you need to break them in, baby. You gotta break them in. You gotta get used to them. I remember when I wore extended wear contacts, I tried them suckers. You son of a... They were the Johnson & Johnson Acuvue disposal contacts sampler pair from optometrist. I tried those things out for a week, and I was so glad when finally the week was over, I could take them out and fling them in the garbage. They were like, my eyes were screaming for air. I need air. We need to breathe. I'm like, okay. We're supposed to wear these for a week. We don't want them. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So basically, Congress is going to have to seriously get their head out of their ass and come up with a better plan. And let's not lie. I don't think all the discussions about, oh, well, we need to do this with this program because, we need to make sure people have more money. Yeah, that sounds fine, but don't forget you got to look at it from both sides. The viewpoint where you're going to get the funding to make up for all the money that you get, the $200 bonus for every single Social Security disability recipient. Oh my God, RSSI, RSS, regular retirement as well. It doesn't just conclude those guys. I have to tell you that right now these guys are making more wish list farts than they are reality. You're still in a lame duck session. You're officially still in a lame duck session anyway until the 20th of January. You've got a presidential election that has quite more inconsistencies that still need to be dealt with. And yet you're trying to talk about this high, and then Biden is saying is he's going to immediately go ahead and file executive orders to undo everything Trump has created, like getting out of the Paris Accord, World Health Organization, and other things. What about Congress? Why doesn't Congress let you vote Biden? Well, anyway, he has. Well, actually, I think I got to get ready to run too. I just wanted to let you know that again we'll be on tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll be on tonight too. So everybody, I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time, unless I oversleep or something. I kind of overslept a little bit, so I'm a little late. So for now, thank you for watching, and we'll be on the 7 o'clock show tonight. We'll be playing World of Warcraft probably at 10 o'clock tonight because they're doing maintenance. Michelle, stick around. What? Because this is getting interesting. Is it? In fact, his noodles is basically just showing his true colors. Now he likes to basically derail your channel. So he says, what is it with guys and sex in the first place? Okay, I'm just going to go this real quick. I mean, it seems like some of you boys are stuck in your teenage years, in your adolescent youth, and you basically keep talking about how great that you hit puberty and that you're finally growing your first facial fur and your hair on your legs. And it's like, you guys never grow up. You never ever get to the point where you're an adult and with adult responsibilities because you're still thinking with that little head of yours. Okay, the topics that this channel tends to cover are not situated around your little head, but more situated around the big head that both men and women have. And that's the reason why I really don't understand the male psyche. I can't. I don't get you guys. You guys are just too weird. It's like everything you do is about, oh, well, I'm gonna think with my little head between my legs, and then I'm thinking with my big head that's on my neck. There's no joke that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. It's because the fact of the matter is that we barely can even understand each other. How you doing, MJ? I don't even know how to answer that question. I really don't know how to answer that question. But I can tell you what me, anyway, is I'm not so much worried about what goes on with my little head down there because I ain't got a little head. I got a little clitoris. All right? Fine. That doesn't think for me. My thinking's done here. And I actually, like I said, I don't understand the mentality of men. Men, that's weird. They're weird me out. I mean, guys I know in person, and Winston, they're the same way. They're weird. They do weird shit. And then they wonder why I don't want to date one. Well, we do rule the world in our own way because we're the conceptual, where we can get into the, besides taking care of the family, we're the ones that, for example, do the thinking that try to put pieces together to make sense. Well, the guys, basically, like I said, some of them are just too, I don't know how to describe it without offending. Just that some guys are just too strange. I never seen a guy, for example, say, realistically, how do I balance the budget? Well, you know, with my limited income because I've been laid off because of COVID-19, how can I still make sure my family's provided for? If it isn't, it's not something a man usually does. If you'll hear a guy talk about his motor in his car, oh, I gotta make sure to change the transmission fluid because it's been about 60,000 miles. I gotta make sure to do a full oil change and change the plugs and recap them. He's worried more about his mechanical machinery than he is worried about making sure his family got food on the table. I mean, I know that's kind of stereotypical. I'm sorry, but damn it, it's like every guy I ever seen. That's exactly what they do. Because women are known for creating all policies. We got to the moon because it was a group thing between men and women, engineers and scientists that worked together on a common goal. But if you let a man and a woman go to their own devices, they deviate like this, like a letter Y. Because they think completely differently. Which drives me crazy because I'm like, that should never even been an issue of deciding if it was okay. It should have been that way from the beginning. We're the other half of society. What are you going to do without us? Oh, if you didn't have us, we wouldn't even exist. We're the ones who bring you into the world. We're the ones who sit on our back during child labor, trying to deliver the little boys that will become the men for the future generations. That's no lie. And for 9 months, we carry you in us. And we tried our best to make sure that we raise you with goodness and kindness and decency. And I can tell you, raising a family is not easy. And that's no lie. Oh, I can take that a couple of different ways. Honestly, what you said there, glimmering moon, I can take that two different ways, and both of them are wrong. One, women do not necessarily suck men off. And number two, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't even be here. Ask your mother. Ask your father if he himself gave birth to you. He can't. It's your mother that carries you for 9 months and then nurses you either naturally nursing, from her breast or from a baby formula or whatever. The thing is that she's the one who's cleaning up after you and raising you for the first 18 years of your life. Actually up to your adolescent years. Your dad's certainly trying to also, but his life was more focused on trying to be the breadwinner. I agree, Michelle. Um, Sex is important, yes, but the thing with sex is it is not a spectator sport. It is not meant to be something that was meant to be squandered away, going to some bar, hitting up some drunken floozy that basically putting giant neon light signs on her private so you basically guys can go ahead and figure out how to aim for your little holes. Of course, it's talked about in the Bible. Right, when sex be talked about in the Bible, considering the fact is that it's a natural part of the progression of human existence. Of course, Moses is going to bring it up in the Pentateuch. How is he not? The Mosaic Law, it specifies exactly where sex is and what it's for. And then, of course, we get into the apocryphal texts and we get into the other books, historical texts, to basically explain where sex has both been abused and used in a good way. So, yes, it exists in the Bible. You think Yahweh is going to let his people not know what to do with the little hit? Of course he's going to do. He's a patriarchal figure. Yes. Because sometimes bringing it up on the show basically triggers a lot of people, especially since the men that tend to bring it up really the ones that really have an issue with it because they don't seem to get enough of it because they're like nymphos. They actually can't help it. They're like nymphomaniacs. They want to go ahead and you guys are sticking in anything warm. I'm not kidding you. I've seen guys stick it in sheep and horses and goats. I've seen people try to stick it in dogs. You're talking about anything that's warm, you guys are sticking in. Politics does too, yeah. So I mean, that's what I've observed. I mean, I may not be what you've observed. That's fine if you observe differently. Um, but no, you're just a typical man, a male that basically still gets stuck in the penis fetish. I'm not judging you, I'm just making an observation. I mean, you're the one who wanted to bring it up. Now, as I said, I'll be playing World of Warcraft later because Blizzard does maintenance on Tuesday. So, unfortunately, well, by the time that their maintenance is done, it'll probably be 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If it's back up and ready by 3 or 4 in the afternoon, we'll play some World of Warcraft before the show. If not, we'll play some World of Warcraft after the show. The regular show will start at 7 o'clock like usual. And that's the way we do it. So, is the stimulus check going to come as soon as they're proposing in November or not? I don't know. I can't say with a definitive answer if it's going to be coming here soon or not. But if it does, and if Biden's budget plan comes into effect for Social Security disability, that means that I will be able to get my hair redone because there'll be a monthly check, $200 gain of $200, which means I can finally go back to my hair salon and go back to being a blonde again. Which people have asked me about that. If you want to go back to being a blonde, the answer is yes, I do. But since my rent went up $800, I couldn't finance going back to the salon right now. So, but if the new proposal comes in and passes the House, the Senate, and the White House, then that'll be different. Then we could do it. AIDS and HPV is a big deal. AIDS, it's not the death sentence it once was. The HPV virus is an issue, but it can be treated and detected early enough. So is ovarian and cervical cancers. That's another big deal too. In all of these issues, there is a new medications now to deal with HIV, which is available. How effective it is, I don't know. But as I said, it's not like it was back in the 1980s when it was a death sentence. Many people do survive with HIV and they do fine with the proper treatments. Back then, Rock Hudson didn't even have a chance. The papillomavirus is more a common issue for women and girls than it is for men. I'm not saying men can't get HPV. I mean, it's possible because of cervical cancers, but I don't see hearing a lot of men getting cervical cancers because of HPV. But, my family, a lot of the women in my family have had cervical cancers and ovarian cancers. And so we got to be careful when we do anything. So, yeah, there's a lot of screening we do in our family because of that reason. Yeah, but there's a problem is that sometimes when people bring up the topic, they're not actually trying to bring it up as an adult. They're bringing it up like little kids, like little juveniles that basically just like to think that they're, that I'm talking about primarily it's the men that do this. Then they go in there and they talk about not so much from a logical, analytical level, but rather um, about how great it is to do this or that and all that. But the thing is it's still scary. It just is. And some people want to be careful. I mean, right now the world is scary as it is. You don't need. I mean, there are people in this world who seriously don't even know what to talk about anymore because of all the censoring that was going on um, in mass media and social media. I mean, things that we cannot discuss because it triggers somebody or it's not politically correct or whatever. And the problem is, like you said, people don't get a chance to talk about things that are really important, like health, like feminine health or masculine health. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about men testicular cancer issues because most men don't want to hear about it. We don't talk about ovarian cysts much because of the same reason. Because it scares us. It reminds us of our mortality, that we are basically going to be at the mercy of getting cancers and our lives are finite. How you doing? How you doing? Like I said, that's the inconvenient truth. Noodles. That's why so many people don't even want to deal with the issue of the feminine or masculine health issues because they don't want to realize that it's it's the one thing that makes us feel vulnerable because we cannot change easily the fact that one day one or two men are going to get prostate cancer, and say in a family of about 20 men, or one in 100 men may get testicular cancer or other cancers down there, including possibly semical vesicles, vas deferens, urinary tract urinary cancer. They affects both men and women. Or the fact is that yes, men will not tell you that they can get breast cancer too, because they don't see as much of it in men. But breast cancer does exist in men. Um, and yet, women also, of course, don't want to hear about cervical cancer. They don't want to hear about, ovarian cancer issues or uterine cancer. That's scary because it just reminds us that we're not infinite and we don't live forever. And it reminds us that the fact is that we're on this earth only dancing for a short while, as Cat Stevens said, and that you're gonna one day, you're gonna, and the grim, your time's gonna be up, and there's not anything you can do to extend your life beyond whatever the Grim Reaper's giving you. So, but then to the people that, like I said, they're hypochondriacs, they'll sit there worry about getting every potential little disease, but then they got other people that are hypochondriacs, which basically meaning the opposite, that they are not worried at all and don't care, and they just accept things as they fall. But when then you got I guess the chondriacs, which are neither hypo nor hypo, basically are reasonable people that at least go through routine testing, but don't go freaking out about results and, just try to do the best they can to provide for themselves and their families. Yeah, I know, Charlotte. I get it about the ovarian cancer. It sucks. My mom lost her ovaries because of ovarian cancer and uterine cancer. It's, it's, again, like I said, it's something that not everybody wants to talk about. But the truth is, I don't really hear men talk about it so much. I really would hear the men, when they talk about their concerns. I mean, everybody talks about enlarged prostate or EPH, which is fine, but what about testicular cancer in men? I don't really hear too many men talking about that. Or what happens if you do have develop other medical issues in your male reproductive organs? How do you adapt? How do you adjust? That's the question. How are you doing, Alexia? Well, point is, that's where we stand. So, this morning's show did not go quite as smoothly as the other shows did because, I don't know. I think that one of the reasons is that I shared the link out on the Discord, and I think that was a mistake because I think the Discord people couldn't wrap their head around what we talk about in the morning show. True, but the point is, it's still an uncomfortable topic for men to talk about. They won't. Maybe among their very closest friends they will if they got testicular cancer from finding out from the doctor, but it's not something a man is going to go out there and, want to. Well, women don't either. I mean, you're not going to see a ton of women going out there, except maybe their close friends talking about their pap smear results. I mean, yeah, okay. But the point is that if you don't do sex, at least in the case of sexually transmitted diseases, you're not going to have to worry about getting HIV or crabs or, any of that stuff, gonorrhea, syphilis, because you're not doing it, so you're not going to get an STD. So if you want to make sure you don't get a girl pregnant and also don't get any kind of nasty surprise like chlamydia, don't do it. Don't do it. Because, I mean, that's the main thing I'm trying to say here. You're right, Charlotte. Most men do not. Until, one day they find they're sore and then they're wondering why, and then they go to the doctor and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, you got stage 2." Huh. Sorry, I'm gonna have to either put you with chemo or we're gonna have to surgically remove them. And for a man, that's like a major slap to the face, realizing he's just been neutered. But it's scary. Cancer is scary. Cancer is scary. Just is scary. And in this crazy world right now, you really want to. It's even more scary. You just brought up a very valid problem. There's blame, honestly, to go around on both sides. Yes, there is some women that are like that. Yes, there are. Because they know that the men that are sluts enjoy it. So They made what's perfect. That's why basically you see what's going on with STDs exploding in some communities because of that reason. That the men basically are sluts, the women are sluts, they're satisfying the male sluts. And then basically, all of a sudden, you get babies being born that later have to be aborted because no one is using proper protection in the first place. So, that's again, why don't we just go ahead and get them all neutered and spayed and be done with it? Because, they're not going to stop screwing each other. 7.5 billion people in the world. Do we really need 7.5 billion more? No. You don't. I don't know if he ever said he hates females, but the point is what he seems to be is he has a fixation, a phallic fixation. I think it would be that Sigmund Freud said. It's a stage of growth for adolescence that he has never outgrown. A lot of men haven't. They're stuck in their phallic stage. Wow. He hasn't progressed to the next level of his psychosexual development. Well, like I said, I digress. Wrong noodles. Yes, they do. Do you ever wonder why your testosterone levels slowly drop as you get older? Yes, you do go through menopause. And it literally is menopause. You guys go and then you start having to take HRT and you start, or some do, some don't. And they start because you want to get your life back together when you were young and vigorous. It's called entropy. Yes, man can enter into menopause. There have been medical examinations and endocrinological scientific journals talking about it. That's right, Charlotte. Men do. Maybe they don't really notice it so much. And, because they're not quite as. I'm going to say what most women are usually more observant of their body. After all, when we see we're having our menstrual cycles are becoming less and less common, we know, that we're reaching that point where, wait a minute, how old am I? 40? I'm having less menstrual cycles than less before. Oh, ain't I at the age when I should have already had a family? Yeah, well, that means I'm dropping less eggs now. Okay. Men don't usually think about that. They don't really, out of sight, out of mind. Men ain't good at all. That's a good point. How you doing, Blazing Leo? Anyway, yeah, that was kind of funny. Thanks for making me laugh a little bit. Oh, I don't know about the smarter part. Look at those. I mean, they're good for lifting heavy things, but men, of course, you know, have their value in our society. We do need them, but like, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily stronger. I mean, spiritually smarter. I mean, I don't know. There's some pretty smart women out there. Um, it's hard to say about intellect because the results in the studies seem to be inconclusive on that. Except that several reports have shown that women, in some ways, in areas of spiritual and social interaction, are better than men, and areas for some conceptualization that involves abstracts, men are better than women. So it all depends on which way you look at it. So in some ways, men are better women, in some ways, women are better than men. So it's just hard. Then you got women that are good at both, and I'm not one of them, honestly. I don't do good with abstract concepts. I really have a hard time with them. I mean, just trying to visualize how something plugs in into my mixer board, just by thinking about how the plugs go in, can be enough to basically totally blow my fuse. um, um, I'm good, Charlotte. I moved into my new place. Now I'm unpacking everything. Oh, where did you move? What town did you move to, Blazing Leo? Not all men are stronger than men. I am stronger and smarter than my ex, and definitely smarter than my four brothers. Well, there was a Jesus that exists. He was married to Mary Magdalene. So yes, Jesus himself did exist, and he really was married to Mary Magdalene or Magdala. He actually did. He has his own ossuary in the Mary Magdala plot. So yes, he did exist, but he didn't die single. He was married to her and he had children. Albert Einstein was a man. The richest woman in the world is only rich because she married a rich man. I don't know about that. Jeff Bezos. Marie Curie was a lady, and she was very aware of radium and her scientific discoveries. Marie Curie was smart. What about Grace Murray Hopper, the one that created COBOL for the Rear Admiral Grace Murray Hopper, who created COBOL that allowed us the first programming language for mainframes. What about Ada Lovelace? Ada Lovelace was Homer Babbage's programming female. She wrote the very first computer program to work on his difference engine and analytical engine. Wow. Women can be just as smart as the men. Women that are smart men would never go anywhere. See, us women know who she is and what men didn't. Men think with their dicks to it. Yeah, they do. Unfortunately, if you listen to my YouTube channel, you can hear that too much with the guys. I know some of them are trying to be funny, but their sense of humor is like, whoa. You know, it's like, can't you be more creative? Trying to say you're going to stick your pee-pee in a toaster? Like, what's so creative about that? Um, um, Well, I mean, the thing is that for me and for a lot of the things, don't forget, women are the ones that keep who keep the world running, in the sense that we're the ones who maintain the homes and the home life and doing everyday life events. And men, might be working, but I know from my experience from watching my mom and my father did not want to deal with the bills. He did not want to deal with the everyday expenses. He gave his paycheck to my mother, and he said, Ellen, you deal with the books. I'm not dealing with this money. I'm not going to deal with this sitting down and having to calculate all these payments out. Here's my week's paycheck. Go ahead, pay the bill. Oh, yeah, I will need a couple of hours allowance each day so I can go ahead and buy a coffee and a lunch. Okay, that's what she did. She took care of the bills. Because my mom was good at numbers. She could calculate. My dad was too, but he was just more inconvenient for him. So he just said, he said, my wife, my mother, he said, Ellen, you do the books. Okay, I will do what I'm good at, of laying floors and sheetrocking and cabinet making and making guitars for Ovation Instruments. But you take care of the books. You take care of the money. And she did. She raised us. She took care of all the expenses. She took care of everything. It worked out good for them. Yeah, but I never seen a microphone. I never seen. Oh no, I'll take that back. You ever see a guy, musician on stage, eat the microphone? uh, yeah, like basically almost like shoves a shirt SM58 down his throat, right? Yell in the microphone, like, whatever it is. Rumba! Like, you really have to scream like that into a microphone. No, you don't. Some guys play it like a musical instrument. They do. uh, Everything a man does is to impress women. Okay, I'll call that a tie score. Yeah, okay. A man will try to impress his female consort. He will. Okay. Um, and the woman's doing the same thing. If she finds the right guy that she wants to settle down with, I mean, she'll do what she can to win his admiration. That's a tie. That's a tie. Um, um, let's be honest. Both sides, need each other. We need men to provide some of the strength in the family. We need the women to raise the children and to, of course, give birth to the children. But that means that the woman is going to need the supporter. That's the man to provide for his wife and his family, which unfortunately puts a lot of stress on the men. Well, nowadays, since the 1970s, we've had women in the workplace as well. Now we got less kids, and that's a completely different topic. But basically, now the kids are growing up with neither parent being necessarily there in the traditional role. But there are some women that still don't mind being in the traditional role, but that's not as common. Now it's the men who are the house husbands, and the women are working, and you're seeing that more and more, where the roles have swapped or flipped over. So maybe this wife is working, and he's taking home raising kids like Mr. Mom, which the movie was kind of funny because I remember Mr. Mom. We still watch that movie. That we are seeing more Mr. Moms in the real world. Most men don't act like real men anymore. You mean courteous, respectful, responsible? Yeah. You definitely see a lot less of that. And I'm not even talking about the Victorian concept. You want to get into really crazy courtships, Victorian courtships, and it's really there. Anyway, but most men today are brash and loud, and they got their mind in the gutter, and they act stupid because they don't understand that does not impress a woman being Mr. Macho, loudmouth, braggart. Depending on the woman, most women are looking for a man who's responsible, who's kind, respectful, respecting of us. That's what we want. And of course, men, they really still say the same thing about the women too. Back and then, they say the same thing about women can be slutty and dirty and grungy, and yeah, there are some that are. So I guess both. Be honest, maybe both sides get a problem. It's not just one or the other. It's a society issue that society has totally crashed to the ground, and there's nobody to pick up the broken pieces. Yeah. It is hard to find a good man. And then they say the same thing about us. It's hard to find a good woman. And I think part of that is society itself has turned all the things that we human beings deep down really are looking for in our lives into something that is not going to be. If that makes any sense. It looks like he kind of went quiet. I'm sure that the cogs are slowly turning. Probably. So the question is, historically speaking, is when did men change? I definitely say it was definitely by the 1960s, men started to change. But women were changing too in the 1960s, so it wasn't just the guys. Because, men prior to the 1960s were really different and were family oriented. And women were too. And now it's like, since the 1960s, the respected, and it is still respected even to this day, that our society still says, I'm still looking for a man like Humphrey Bogart or something, or, someone like, a wife like Ginger Rogers or something. I know that's kind of extreme, but the point is that our society has turned the rules, what is expected, into something that is completely different from the parents in the 50s. Forget the Ward and June Cleaver family. That's gone. As much as some people would like to see that come back, or Father Knows Best family, it's possible you might see it in some families, but the majority of the times it's not. It's because something in the 1960s changed everything. And the social family, the traditional family, just totally went into the dumpsters of history. Which is kind of sad. If a boy is raised badly, he'll be disrespectful of females. Yes. I think a lot of it has to do how the man is raised, and women too. Let's be honest here. Some of the girls are raised pretty bad too, and especially, I don't know. It's a tough sell. Let me look at some of the comments back here. Men only want the perfect submissive woman. If it is, there are too many strong, independent women nowadays. But I think a lot of it has how to do how men is raised. If a boy is raised badly, he'll be disrespectful to females. Women want a man who steps up and stops acting like they are God's gift. LOL. Blazing Leo says, I agree that with mostly Charlotte, but there are exceptions. I have raised my son to respect females. Yeah, well, it's true. But also don't forget, what if the woman herself in a single family home was raised in a way that was warped? Then her kids are going to be warped. That's a reality. I mean, it's not just one or the other. In a single family home, a single parent home, you have a mother raising boys, and if she was raised in her home herself that was dysfunctional, she's going to be dysfunctional. Her boys are going to become dysfunctional. Her girls are going to become dysfunctional. And that's where we really need to have both parents involved in the equation. But modern society doesn't seem to really focus on that so much. It's focusing on the latchkey kids and the single parent house. Homes don't even have the support it needs to help raise the sons, the boys. Boys need to be raised ideally by the men who I hope were raised by fathers that were respectable and kind, but sometimes it's the same problem. Even if they were raised by men, the men may not have been such good role models either. It's a problem. Yeah, they're terrible out there. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to say our sex isn't. I'm not going to say our sex is perfect, because we're not. I mean, just be honest here. It's all we need to do is be honest and admit that the problem is not just one or the other, but rather both. But the question is, what changed in the 1960s that started this whole ripple down effect? It wasn't but the fact that women entering the workplace, because they already were in the workplace. It wasn't the fact is that, the 1960s, the tumultuous time. I mean, young girls were getting into Woodstock and all that. And as I understand it, there was a free sex movement, and it started from the 60s, ran up into the mid 70s, at the discotheque and all that. But holy crap! I mean, like, wow. And the guys weren't doing any better either, because they were just as messed up. How a woman can hurt her own children is mind blowing to me. How a woman can kill her own baby is even more mind blowing to me. I'm pro life, and I can't visualize killing a baby in the fourth month of its life. Look, you carried it for the first 4. Why don't you carry it for the last 5? And then when you realize, when you see what the doctor has done to abort that poor little baby, you start really feeling really heartbroken, because it's like, I carried that little child in me for that long, and I never even give the child a chance to grow up to be a person. I mean, have their own families. And I mean, it's different if it's a medical necessity, but seriously, abortion at that late stage is embarrassing. It should never even be allowed. Come on, if you already found out after you took a pregnancy test that you're pregnant, you didn't want the kid in the first place, that's fine to abort it right there, or you 486 or whatever. But Jesus Christ, waiting 4, 5, 6 months, that's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Why are you trying to brag that you get the baby bump? Oh, I got a baby bump, but I wouldn't kill it now because I don't want the baby bump anymore. How could there are some evil people out there, Leo. Or how anyone can be cruel to the children or animals in any way is disgusting. Absolutely. I don't support that either. Yes, Charlotte, there are too much evil in the world. Sally Doggy says, I was abused by a pug ex for pug ex Fox Terrier when I was a puppy. I do not believe in abortion unless it's a medical necessity. Me either. And here's the thing that really does bother me. Adoption. I'm not against adoption. What I am against is the way the system has basically stacked adoption into a complicated, convoluted process. Could you imagine adopting a dog or a kitten, the same puppy and kitten, the same way we do with children? The complexities, the paperwork, and everything. And yet they complain that they have children sitting in foster homes needing good families. Because you guys, unfortunately, are trying to find the good families that hardly exist. And then those poor families that really wanted to have a child of their own, that really are good parents, because they can't meet the financial scratch to get it together, are denied applications. And so it's like our society is saying one side of the parents is, you got to be well-to-do and have a lot of money to have a kid for adoption. But yet, a mother who lives in her home by herself, who lives in single income, single parent, has a child naturally out of her own body, raises the kid on food stamps and welfare, and she can have the kid and no problem. But if the same mother put the child up for adoption, the child will sit in a foster home indefinitely because a suitable mother or father that just doesn't have the scratch can't adopt that child because they can't meet the requirements that the government has set down on them. That's unfair. That's where it gets into this, unfairness of the system. I know that I've thought about adopting a child myself. Of course, I later decided not to, but I can't adopt a child because I don't make enough money. Because it's expensive. But I really kind of figured that out on my own. But the truth is, I'm not against adoption. I'm against the bureaucratic nightmare that goes along with it. Yeah. Sadly, there are some females that use abortion as a form of birth control. Yeah, that's obvious. It disgusts me. Yeah. I know, Charlotte, those women need to have their get fixed. Everybody keeps saying spay and neuter your pets. Why don't you spay and neuter yourself? If you can't decide basically you want to go ahead and act like a female cat that basically wants to have a million kittens around, then why don't you spay and neuter yourself? This is the same woman that go, well, I'm going to spay and neuter my cat. Why don't you spay and neuter yourself, asshole? After all, you're the one who's doing the same thing your cat's doing. You're supposed to be a human being. You're supposed to be Homo sapien sapien. You're thinking, man, why in the hell do you sit there and go, oh, I can neuter my cat because my cat's stupid, but I can't neuter myself because I'm too smart? Your actions precede you. You actually think you're genius? Thank God I'm sterile. I can't have kids anyway. I'm not interested in sex either way, but the point is that, oh my God, this is ridiculous. No, you don't. Unless you want to adopt one. Then you need all kinds of freaking paperwork. Even friends can't even give a person their friend their kid. That's not even that simple, eh? Hey, Sue. My son is a year old now, and I'm having hard times. Would you like to take over him for his welfare? I'll go ahead, give you the birth certificate, give you the documents. You go down, register with DSS, boom, you're done. And or whatever agency you're gonna go to. Even friends can't let friends take over cats or kids. I mean, it's the system's messed up. Rusty, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, wait a minute. I gotta be able to read the comments here. All right. These stupid religions that don't believe in birth control. They do. It's called abstaining from sex. And there's nothing wrong with that except one valid thing. Everybody doesn't think like that. Okay. You're going to tell a 16-year-old boy to abstain from sex? You have better luck emptying the Atlantic Ocean with a teaspoon. That's the reality. You're not going to be able to tell a young boy, a 16-year-old, that he needs to stay away from this girlfriend when she's during her menstrual cycle because she's basically likely to get pregnant at that time, premenstrual. But he doesn't understand that. That's part of the problem. Older people, that's less of an issue, but for teenagers, that's almost impossible. How you doing, Jody girl? Stupid religion. Okay. No, but kids will be kids, and the parents think that they will obtain a stay in the name of God. Well, I don't know about that. I'm going to make a quick run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And okay. Need any more food, Russ? Looks like you're a little bit on the low side here. Yes, all right. Need more food. Okay. So let's get caught up here. In this day and age, there should be no reason for pregnancies unless the unthinkable happens. How you doing, Jody girl, Michelle? They are char blazing. No, but kids will be kids. And okay, yeah. Hi, Jody. Jody, hello. Okay, Good. Glad to see you, hand washer. Well, I usually do, but my point is that Michelle is parents cannot be around their kids 24 hours a day. When kids are curious, they will do stupid things, and that's how teenage pregnancies happen. It's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, well, I agree. I was a teenager at one time, but um, the problem is, what's the solution? I mean, sure. I mean, we could go ahead and basically, uh, in some cases, remove, have boys fixed and the girls spayed, but it's kind of extreme, It's then we totally would be short circuiting their entire life, and they're not going to be able to have bear children. Um, I mean, it's kind of hard to find the best solution for this day and age because of the reason. Um, but I don't think the current system is working either. So we got to come up with a better solution. Do you? No, I didn't just throw up. No, I just went to pee. Trust me, if I was throwing up, you would hear it. You would hear the retching sound. I'll catch you lovely people next time. I'm going for a lay down. See you, sure. Well, guys, I want to say thank you for coming to the morning show. I'm sorry, it kind of was by 10:30. It was kind of going wrong because some of the night guys in the night show wanted to turn the morning show into the night show, and basically phones and I told them, I said, no, we're not doing that, because I said this is the one time of the day when we could actually focus on the chats and the comments, and it's not going to get derailed by the phone ringing and distracting everybody. So yeah, this is the one time of the day when I get a chance to get everybody together. And so don't forget, tomorrow we'll be live again at 10 a.m. I'll try to make sure I'm on time. And we will be on live tonight at the 7 o'clock show at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, United States time. And of course, 10 p.m. United States time, we'll be playing World of Warcraft, because unfortunately there's no reason not to. Really, there's no reason not to. So, and please do check out, if you did block my Nightbot, please do unblock Nightbot a little bit to look at what Nightbot is announcing to join us on our Discord page. We would like to see more people on our Discord, and we'd like to see people see ways to reach out, to contact me on and off the stream, donations, whatever, and also don't forget to share the channel with your friends and subscribe and click the bell so you will receive the notifications of when we're live, so you won't worry about missing a thing. At least that's the objective anyway. But I mean, how it's going to work is beyond me. All right, I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. And no, I did not just throw up in the bathroom. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of you guys tomorrow, and I want to try to get more people on the morning show and the night shows. I want to get more people on both shows. We just have to accept the night show is a little more crazy and a little more get derailed easily. And that's the reality. The night shows are just kind of crazy. No, it doesn't mean anything bad. Just is the way it is. Okay, guys. So that's it for now. See you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. And don't forget tonight, 7 p.m. tonight on the same channel. Right? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.